The orbital palace of Queen Vailira floated above the crimson world like a silent guardian watching over an endless sea of stars. Its silver towers reflected distant sunlight, giving the illusion that the entire structure was alive. Ships arrived and departed every minute, carrying diplomats, traders, and soldiers from countless species. Everyone knew this palace was not just a home. It was the center of power for one of the most feared and respected rulers in the galaxy. Queen Vailira ruled with strength and precision. Her name alone could end wars before they began. She was known for her fierce decisions and unwavering control. Many admired her, but many also feared her. She had survived assassination attempts, rebellions, and political storms that would have destroyed weaker leaders. To her people, she was not only a queen but a symbol of survival. Despite her powerful image, there was one person who softened her otherwise cold reputation: her daughter, Princess Lynera. Lynera was very different from her mother. Where the queen was sharp and commanding, the princess was gentle and thoughtful. She preferred quiet gardens over grand halls and simple conversations over formal speeches. She had a natural kindness that made even hardened soldiers feel at ease. Many believed she would rule differently one day, bringing balance to the empire's strict traditions. The palace was preparing for an important diplomatic gathering. Leaders from multiple systems were arriving to discuss disputed territories and fragile alliances. Tension filled the air like an approaching storm. Security had been increased to the highest level. Guards stood at every entrance. Drones floated silently above corridors, and advanced sensors monitored every movement. Among the many guards was a human named Elias. Humans were still relatively new among the great civilizations of the galaxy. They did not possess the advanced technology of older species, nor the political influence of ancient empires. But humans had earned a reputation for resilience and courage. Elias had proven himself during a previous crisis when he helped rescue civilians during an attack on a remote station. Because of that act, he had been invited to serve as a palace guard. Many nobles saw him as an outsider. Some believed humans were unpredictable. Others simply ignored him. Elias did not mind. He focused on his duties quietly, observing more than speaking. He noticed things others overlooked: subtle changes in routine, small details hidden in plain sight. That was why he had been assigned to patrol areas near the royal quarters, even though he was not part of the inner elite. On the evening before the diplomatic summit, the palace was unusually busy. Servants moved quickly through corridors, technicians checked systems repeatedly, and security teams ran final inspections. Princess Lynera was expected to attend several formal rehearsals, but she seemed distracted. Earlier that day, she had walked through one of the palace gardens, accompanied by attendants. She watched ships arrive through the transparent ceiling, her expression thoughtful. She felt uneasy about the gathering. Her empathic ability allowed her to sense emotions more strongly than others, and lately she had felt waves of tension and hidden fear among the guests. While attendants discussed schedules behind her, Lynera quietly slipped away. It was not the first time she had done this. She often escaped the heavy expectations placed on her. She did not intend to cause trouble. She simply wanted to breathe without being watched. Hours passed before anyone realized she was missing. At first, attendants assumed she had moved to another scheduled location, but when multiple teams confirmed she had not arrived anywhere, panic began to spread. Security officers activated search protocols. Hallways filled with urgency as teams rushed to locate her. When the news reached Queen Vailira, silence fell across the command chamber. The queen stood perfectly still as an officer explained the situation. Her eyes narrowed slowly, and the air itself seemed to grow heavier. "Explain again," she said calmly, though her voice carried dangerous weight. The officer repeated the details. The princess had vanished during a secure time window. Surveillance footage showed her entering a corridor, but after that, the trail disappeared. Sensors had malfunctioned for several minutes, something that should have been impossible. The queen's calm expression hardened.
Lock down all exits.
No ship leaves without my command. Orders spread instantly. The palace shifted from celebration to crisis. Rumors began to circulate among the visiting dignitaries. Some whispered about assassination attempts. Others suspected political sabotage. The presence of multiple alien factions only increased paranoia. Elias received the alert like every other guard. He listened carefully to the briefing, noting small inconsistencies. The malfunctioning sensors bothered him. Technology on the palace was highly advanced. Failures rarely happened without cause. He joined a search team assigned to lower corridors, rarely visited by nobles, while others focused on major areas. Elias studied subtle clues. A faint disturbance in dust near a side passage caught his attention. The path led toward maintenance tunnels used by engineers. He requested permission to investigate and received approval. The maintenance corridors were quiet and dimly lit. The hum of distant machinery echoed softly. Elias moved slowly, scanning every detail. He noticed a small piece of fabric caught on a sharp edge, a delicate ribbon, pale and finely woven. He recognized it as part of the princess's attire from earlier that day. His heartbeat quickened. He followed the path deeper into the hidden sections of the station. These areas were older, built during the earliest construction phases. Some sections were no longer monitored closely because they posed little strategic value. After several turns, he heard faint breathing. Elias slowed, keeping his movements gentle. He turned a corner and froze. Princess Lanira sat against a wall, her eyes half closed. She looked exhausted, her elegant clothing slightly disordered from walking through tight spaces. When she saw him, she did not appear afraid. Instead, relief softened her expression.
"You found me?"
she said quietly. Elias lowered his weapon immediately and approached slowly.
"Your Highness, everyone is searching for you. G."
Before she could fall, Elias stepped forward and caught her. She felt lighter than he expected, fragile compared to the powerful image associated with royalty. "I did not mean to cause fear," she said softly. "I just needed to be away from everything for a while." Her voice sounded tired, and Elias noticed signs of physical exhaustion. The hidden corridors were difficult to navigate for someone unused to them. "You should rest," he said calmly. She hesitated for a moment, studying his face as if searching for judgment. Finding none, she allowed herself to relax slightly.
"I could feel something wrong," she said after a moment. "The emotions in the palace—"
Fear, anger, secrets. It felt overwhelming. Elias listened without interrupting. Many guards would have reported her immediately, but he sensed she needed to speak. "You felt unsafe?" he asked gently. "Not unsafe," she replied. "Just trapped." Her eyes closed briefly as fatigue took over. Without warning, her body relaxed completely, and she leaned against him. Elias adjusted his stance to support her weight, realizing she had fallen asleep. He stood there quietly, holding the princess as she rested. For a moment, the chaos of the palace felt far away. Through the corridor's small window, distant stars shone silently. Elias considered contacting command immediately. Protocol required instant reporting, yet something stopped him. A feeling that rushing her back without understanding the situation might expose her to whatever danger caused the sensor failure. He activated a low-level communication signal instead, marking the area as being searched but not revealing exact details yet. Time passed slowly as he waited, ensuring she regained strength before moving. As Lanira slept, the fierce image of the queen echoed in his mind. He knew the moment she learned where her daughter was, everything would change. The entire empire would shift around this discovery. Outside the maintenance corridors, search teams continued moving rapidly. Tension grew heavier with every hour. When the princess stirred again, she looked up at him with quiet curiosity rather than royal authority.
"You are human," she said softly. I have heard humans are stubborn. He allowed a small smile.
Sometimes. She smiled faintly in return, and for the first time since the crisis began, the situation felt less heavy. Neither of them knew that hidden enemies were already watching, waiting for the right moment to strike, and that finding the princess would only be the beginning of a much larger conflict. Princess Lanira slowly opened her eyes, the faint hum of machinery filling the quiet space around her. For a moment, she did not remember where she was. The polished halls of the palace were gone, replaced by dim lighting and narrow walls made of old metal panels. Then she noticed the steady presence beside her. Elias stood nearby, watching carefully but respectfully, as if giving her time to wake fully before speaking. "You rested for a while?" he said gently when he saw her moving. She nodded, pushing herself upright. Though still tired, she seemed calmer now. The heavy emotions that had overwhelmed her earlier had faded slightly, replaced by quiet determination. "I caused trouble," she said softly. "People are worried," Elias replied. He did not sound accusing, only honest. Lynira lowered her gaze. "My mother must be furious." Elias did not respond immediately, but both of them knew the answer. Queen Vailira's reputation was well known. Her anger was said to shake entire fleets, yet Elias also sensed something else. Beneath the fearsome image was a mother who cared deeply for her child. He offered her a small container of water from his supply pack. She accepted it gratefully. "Why did you leave?" he asked after a moment. Lynira hesitated. She seemed unsure how much to share. Finally, she spoke quietly.
I can feel emotions more strongly than others. It is not just a talent.
It is constant, like hearing many voices at once. Today, the palace felt wrong. Too many hidden thoughts. Too much fear. Elias listened carefully. He had heard about her empathic ability, but had never seen how deeply it affected her. "You think someone means harm?" he asked. "I do not know," she admitted. "But something is not honest. The diplomats smile, yet beneath their smiles is tension. Some feel desperate. Others feel dangerous." Elias thought about the sensor failure again. It did not feel like coincidence. Someone with access to high-level systems had deliberately created a blind spot. "We should return you to safety," he said, though his tone carried uncertainty. Lynira studied him. "If I return now, everything will become louder again. The expectations, the political games, and if there truly is danger, I might be walking directly into it." Her words made sense. Elias felt the weight of responsibility pressing against him. Protocol demanded immediate reporting, but his instincts warned him that something deeper was wrong. At that moment, a faint sound echoed through the corridor. A distant metallic movement. Elias froze. He raised a hand, signaling her to stay quiet. He listened carefully, his training guiding him. The sound was too controlled to be random. Someone else was nearby. "We are not alone." Lynira's expression changed immediately, calm but alert. Elias activated a small handheld scanner. The device showed faint heat signatures moving through adjacent tunnels. Not many. 2, maybe 3 individuals. But they were moving cautiously, as if searching. "They should not be here," he murmured. "Are they guards?" Lynira asked. "I do not think so." He quickly guided her deeper into the maintenance network. These older sections were complex, filled with unused passages and hidden chambers. Elias had studied palace layouts extensively and knew a few alternative routes. They moved carefully, their footsteps quiet against the metal floor. Above them, the palace remained in chaos. Search teams grew more aggressive. Queen Vailira had personally entered the command center, demanding constant updates. Advisors argued about possible motives behind the disappearance. Some suggested external enemies. Others quietly blamed internal rivals. Several high-ranking nobles began pushing suspicious narratives, questioning the presence of humans within the royal guard. Elias's name appeared briefly during discussions, though without evidence. The tension between species threatened to grow into open hostility. Back in the corridors, Lanira followed Elias without hesitation. She noticed how he remained calm despite uncertainty. Unlike many soldiers she had met, he did not treat her as fragile royalty. He simply focused on keeping both of them safe. After several turns, they entered a small abandoned storage area. Elias checked the entrance before allowing her to sit.
"We will stay here for a moment," he said.
Lynira nodded. She watched him carefully, curiosity shining through her exhaustion. "You did not immediately report me," she said. "That is true. Why?" He considered giving a simple answer but decided honesty was better. Because something feels wrong. The sensor failure. The people searching these tunnels. It looks like someone expected you to disappear. Her eyes widened slightly.
You believe this was planned? I believe we should be careful. What's the first time since leaving her royal duties she felt understood?
Many people saw her as a symbol, a future ruler, or a political asset. Elias saw her as a person trying to make sense of danger. Minutes passed quietly. Lynira broke the silence again.
Humans are not afraid to question orders, are they?
He gave a small smile. We respect orders.
But we also try to understand why they exist.
Outside the room, faint footsteps echoed again.
Elias signaled for silence. The footsteps paused near the entrance, then moved away slowly. "Someone is searching specifically," he whispered. Lynira felt a chill. Her earlier unease returned, stronger now.
Elias made a decision.
We cannot stay here long. If they find us, we might not get another chance.
They moved again, following a narrow ladder that led to an upper maintenance line. The path was tight, forcing them to move single file. Lynira struggled slightly but refused to complain. As they walked, she asked quietly, "Why did you become a guard here?"
Elias thought for a moment.
I wanted to see more of the galaxy, and I believed protecting people matters no matter who they are. She considered that answer deeply. Many here protect power, not people. He did not respond, but the truth of her words lingered between them. Hours passed as they navigated hidden routes. Elias used his training to avoid main pathways. Lynira, despite her lack of experience in such environments, adapted quickly. Eventually, they reached a small observation platform rarely used. Through a transparent panel, they could see the crimson world below, glowing under distant sunlight. Lynira stepped closer, watching silently. "It is beautiful," she said. "Yes," Elias agreed. "I sometimes wish I could live simply, without titles or expectations." He understood that feeling more than she might expect. Before he could respond, alarms suddenly echoed faintly through the station. Not a full emergency alarm, but a localized alert. One used when unauthorized access was detected. Elias checked his scanner again. The heat signatures were closer now. "They found our trail," he said quietly. Lynira straightened, her earlier gentleness replaced by quiet strength. "Then we keep moving." They turned away from the window and continued deeper into the unknown paths. Neither of them realized yet that powerful figures within the palace were deliberately guiding search teams away from certain areas, ensuring the princess remained hidden long enough for a larger plan to unfold. As they disappeared into the corridors again, the bond between human guard and alien princess grew stronger, built not on duty alone, but on trust formed in shared uncertainty. The hidden corridors of the orbital palace felt colder the deeper Elias and Princess Lynira moved. The lights grew dimmer, and the steady hum of the station's systems echoed through narrow walls. Every step felt heavier, not because of exhaustion alone,
but because both of them understood that someone was actively searching for them. Elias moved carefully, stopping often to listen. He had turned off his main communication channel to avoid tracking, relying instead on short-range scanners and his instincts. Lynera followed closely behind him. Despite her royal upbringing, she showed no fear. Her calm presence surprised him. She adapted quickly, trusting his guidance without hesitation. "They are closer now," she whispered at one point, her eyes unfocused as if she were listening to something beyond sound. "You can feel them?" he asked quietly. She nodded. "Not clearly, but their intentions feel sharp, focused." Elias tightened his grip on his equipment. That confirmed his suspicions. Whoever was searching was not part of the normal rescue effort. Official teams would move more openly, communicating through secure channels. These individuals were hiding their movements. They reached a junction where 3 paths split in different directions. Elias paused, studying the floor. One corridor showed faint scuff marks, fresh and deliberate. He gestured toward another path instead. "We go this way." Lynera followed without question. As they walked, she studied him silently for a while. "You remain calm even when danger grows closer," she said. He shrugged slightly. "Staying calm helps you think." "That is rare," she replied softly. "Many soldiers become louder when they are afraid." He smiled faintly at that.
"Humans learn early that panic makes things worse." She considered this deeply. Humans were still mysterious to many alien species.
They lacked the natural advantages of others. No advanced psychic abilities. No superior physical strength compared to certain warrior races. Yet they adapted quickly and refused to give up, even when the odds were against them. The corridor ahead opened into a wider maintenance chamber filled with old machinery. Elias stopped suddenly and raised a hand, signaling silence. Footsteps echoed from the far side. He guided Lynera behind a large, inactive generator. They crouched quietly, waiting. 2 figures entered the chamber. Their uniforms resembled palace security but carried subtle differences. Their movements were too controlled, too cautious. One of them spoke in a low voice. "Command says the princess was last traced near this sector." "Then the human guard must be with her," the other replied. "We take them quietly." Lynera's eyes widened slightly. Elias remained perfectly still, absorbing every word. The voices confirmed everything. This was not a rescue operation. Someone inside the palace wanted them captured. Or worse, the figures moved closer. Elias studied their patterns, searching for an opening. Fighting directly would be risky. He needed distraction. He quietly removed a small tool from his belt and tossed it gently toward the opposite side of the chamber. The object struck metal with a sharp sound. Both figures turned instantly, weapons raised. Elias took the opportunity. He guided Lynera toward a side exit, moving silently while the strangers investigated the noise. They slipped into the corridor just as one of the figures turned back. "Movement!" a voice shouted. Elias grabbed Lynera's hand and ran. The narrow passage forced them into single file again. Footsteps thundered behind them. Energy bolts struck the wall, sending sparks flying. "Keep moving!" Elias said firmly. Lynera pushed herself forward, determination replacing fear. She trusted him completely now. They turned sharply into another corridor. Elias scanned quickly, noticing a vertical shaft leading upward. "This way." He helped her climb the ladder quickly. When she reached the top, he followed and sealed the hatch behind them. The heavy door slowed their pursuers. They emerged into a quiet hallway near the station's lower districts, an area used by workers and maintenance crews rather than nobles. The lighting was warmer here, and distant conversations echoed faintly. Lynera leaned against the wall, catching her breath. "They were not guards." "No," Elias agreed. "Someone is hunting you." She closed her eyes briefly, focusing on her empathic senses. "They feel loyal to someone powerful." "That makes sense," he said.
Only someone with authority could manipulate security systems like this. The realization settled between them. The danger was not outside the palace. It was inside. They moved again, blending into the flow of workers passing through the lower levels. Elias kept his posture relaxed, avoiding attention. Lynera lowered her head slightly, her royal presence hidden beneath simple movement. As they walked, she spoke quietly.
You risk much by helping me like this. It is my duty. That is not all, she said gently. He did not answer, but she knew she was right.
His actions came from something deeper than obligation. Meanwhile, high above in the command chamber, Queen Vaelira stood surrounded by advisors. Her patience was fading. Reports arrived constantly, yet none gave clear answers. She sensed deception around her. Some advisors avoided her gaze. Others spoke too quickly, offering theories without evidence.
Enough,
she said coldly.
Remove everyone not essential to the search. Silence followed as several officials were dismissed immediately. The queen stared at the holographic map of the palace.
Something about the search patterns felt wrong. Certain areas were being ignored despite being logical hiding places. Her instincts sharpened.
Show me the human guard's last known location,
she ordered. An officer hesitated but obeyed. A small marker appeared on the map. Vaelira's eyes narrowed. Prepare my personal transport, she said quietly. Back in the lower levels, Elias and Lynera entered a quiet storage room to regroup. He checked his equipment again. Supplies were running low.
We need a plan,
he said. Lynera nodded.
If we continue hiding, they will eventually find us.
Do you believe someone within my mother's court is responsible? Yes. Then we must reveal the truth carefully. If we accuse without proof, it may cause more chaos. Elias admired her clarity. Despite the danger, she thought beyond herself, considering the stability of the entire empire.
I can send a coded message, he said after thinking.
Something only the queen might understand. Lynera hesitated. You trust her to come alone?
Yes, he said quietly.
From what I have seen, she is not careless. Now, she smiled slightly at his respect for her mother. They prepared the message together, embedding clues that only someone familiar with both royal traditions.
After sending it, silence returned. Lynera looked at him thoughtfully. Humans are surprising, she said. How so? You do not have the strength of certain warrior races or the ancient wisdom of elder species. Yet you continue forward without certainty. You choose hope, even when danger grows.
He laughed softly.
Sometimes it is just stubbornness.
Perhaps, she replied, smiling.
Moments later, distant alarms echoed again, closer this time. Elias stood immediately. They found us again. Lynera rose beside him, calm but ready. Together they moved toward another hidden path, unaware that Queen Vaelira herself was already on her way, guided by the coded message and driven by the fierce determination of a mother who refused to lose her child. The chase was far from over. But the truth was beginning to surface, slowly revealing a conspiracy that would soon shake the entire empire. The lower levels of the orbital palace felt unusually silent as Elias and Princess Lynera moved carefully through another dim corridor. The distant echo of alarms faded, replaced by a tense quiet that made every sound feel louder. Elias knew this silence was dangerous. Their pursuers were no longer searching randomly. They were closing in with purpose. Lynera walked beside him with steady determination. Though exhaustion lingered in her movements, her mind remained sharp. She could feel shifting emotions around them, tension, urgency, and hidden fear spreading through the palace like an invisible storm.
They know we sent a message, she said quietly. Elias nodded. Most likely. He checked his scanner again.
Multiple signals flickered nearby, appearing and disappearing as if someone were masking their location. Whoever was hunting them had access to advanced tools. They turned a corner and entered a long passage leading toward an unused cargo bay. The space opened into a large chamber filled with old containers stacked in rows. Soft lighting cast long shadows across the floor. Elias slowed, sensing something wrong. "Stay close," he murmured. Lynira obeyed instantly.
Halfway through the chamber, figures emerged from behind the containers. 4 individuals stepped forward, blocking the exit.
Their armor resembled palace security uniforms but lacked official insignia. Weapons pointed directly at Elias and the princess. One of them spoke calmly. "Your Highness, this has gone far enough. Please, come with us quietly." Lynera straightened, her royal presence returning instantly. "You are not members of the Royal Guard." The figure tilted his head slightly. "We serve the future of the Empire." The Elias moved subtly, positioning himself between them and the princess.
What future requires hiding behind masks? He asked calmly.
The leader ignored him.
"Human, step aside. This does not concern you."
"It concerns me," Elias replied quietly. Tension filled the room. The air felt heavy with unspoken threats. Lynira studied the figures carefully. Through her empathic senses, she felt ambition mixed with desperation. These were not simple attackers. They believed they were acting for a greater purpose. "You intend to use my disappearance to create chaos," she said slowly, "to weaken my mother's authority." The leader smiled faintly. "You are perceptive." Before he could continue, another voice echoed from the entrance behind them. "That is enough." Every head turned. Queen Valera stepped into the chamber, her presence alone shifting the atmosphere. She wore simple combat attire rather than royal robes, her expression calm but dangerously focused. 2 elite guards followed behind her, weapons ready. The conspirators hesitated. They had not expected the queen to arrive personally. "I wondered how long you would hide," Valera said quietly. "Your manipulation of my advisors was clever, but not clever enough. Your rule grows weaker, Queen. The Empire needs strength, not sentiment."
My daughter is not a tool for your ambition, she replied coldly.
The tension snapped. One of the conspirators fired a shot toward the queen. Elias reacted instantly, pulling Lynira behind cover as energy bolts flashed across the chamber. The queen's guards returned fire with precise efficiency. Chaos erupted. Sparks flew as weapons struck metal containers. Ilias grabbed a nearby tool and triggered an emergency shield panel, creating temporary cover for them. Lynira watched him in amazement. Despite lacking advanced alien abilities, he adapted instantly, using his environment to their advantage. "Stay behind me," he said calmly. She nodded, trusting him completely. The fight was intense, but brief. The queen moved with controlled precision, her experience evident in every movement. One by one, the conspirators were disarmed and captured. Silence returned slowly as the last weapon fell to the floor. Queen Valera turned toward her daughter. For a moment, her fierce expression softened. She stepped forward carefully, as if unsure whether the moment was real.
"Lynira,"
she said quietly. "I am safe," the princess replied gently. The queen's gaze shifted to Elias. He stood respectfully, but without fear. "You are the human guard," she said.
Yes, Your Majesty. You disobeyed protocol. I did. A long silence followed. Lynira stepped forward.
"He protected me when others could not be trusted. Without him, I would not be safe." Instead of anger, something like respect appeared in her eyes.
You saw danger where others saw only procedure, she said slowly.
"Yes," he replied.
She nodded once. Then you acted wisely. The captured conspirators were taken away under heavy guard. Evidence gathered from their equipment revealed a complex plot involving several high-ranking nobles.
They had intended to eliminate the princess and blame external forces, creating chaos that would allow them to seize power as the truth spread through the palace. Shock and relief followed. Later in the Grand Hall, the diplomatic gathering resumed under heavy security. Queen Vaelira addressed the assembled leaders personally. Her voice carried strength but also new clarity. Today, betrayal was uncovered not through power alone but through courage and trust, she said. She publicly honored Elias for his actions, recognizing not only his loyalty but his willingness to think independently. Many nobles who once dismissed humans began to view them differently. Lanera stood beside her mother, calm and confident. The experience had changed her. She no longer felt like someone hiding from expectations. Instead, she felt ready to shape her own path. After the ceremony, the queen approached Elias privately. "You protected what matters most to me," she said quietly, "not because of rank or reward, but because you believed it was right."
"That is a rare strength," she continued. "Remain in my guard."
"Not as an outsider, but as someone I trust." Elias accepted with quiet gratitude. Days later, the palace returned to normal life. Ships continued arriving, and diplomacy moved forward with renewed stability. The conspiracy's failure strengthened the empire rather than weakening it. One evening, Lanera found Elias standing near an observation window, watching the stars. "You look thoughtful," she said. "I am just adjusting to everything," he replied with a small smile. She laughed softly. "You changed more than you realize." He shook his head. "We all did." She nodded, gazing at the distant stars. The future felt uncertain but hopeful. In that quiet moment, the fierce alien queen's daughter and the human guard shared a silent understanding. That strength came not only from power or titles, but from trust, courage, and the willingness to stand beside someone when it mattered most.